I've seen a lot of guides out there on the internet showing people how to fly jets, but they never really cover the topics that I feel are needed to helpfully get people up in the air and flying to a decent degree. So here I am today, and I'm going to give you the full comprehensive guide to flying jets in Battlefield 3, and we're going to start right at the very beginning with takeoffs. Now, the first steps on everything are usually the hardest, and flying a jet is no different. Chances are, if you're not at the beginning of the map, you're going to have some dickhead enemy pilots spawn trapping the shit out of your jets, and you cannot do anything about this, unfortunately, unless your teammates are there spotting the jets and or manning the anti-aircraft guns around your jet spawn. There's nothing you can do. You're just going to die time and time again. But there are a few handy tips we can give for taking off which will help you out. Taking off itself, obviously you're going to have to sort out your controls so you know what's up and what's down, so you don't make some jet-shaped fireworks before you even get your damn thing in the air. Go into the main menu and look at the control panel. From there you can change the inversion of the up and down of the jet. Make sure you know which way is up and which way is down. Make the jet comfortable for you and don't worry about what the norm are. The most important thing for you when you're flying in the air is to make sure you are confident that the jet is going to go where you want it to. To take off, hold R2 and use your right analog stick to make your plane go up. Once in the air, when you see the wheels go in underneath your jet, let go of the R2 button. This will maintain your speed at a steady cruising speed and enable you to move quite freely. Remember, if you brake using the L2 button, remember to re-engage your speed with R2 so you bring it up to that steady cruising speed. Once in the air, the basic controls are as follows. The left analog stick moving left and right makes your plane strafe. Think of it like drifting, because your plane will still be going forward, but it will enable you to do minute turns on that axis. Whether your plane is 90 degrees to the side, it will also go left or right from the plane's perspective, not from the camera's perspective. The right analog stick, tilting left or right, will tilt your plane in either direction and go up and down regarding on whether you have inverted on or not. If you turn your plane 90 degrees and then make it go up, this will be the most frequent way you'll be using for turning. You can reduce the turning circle of this by holding down L2 to brake to reduce your speed. Now, combat is the main issue, and combat is broken down into two sections, evasion and attacking. For evasion, you need to use all your maneuvering skills, which should be on par by now. You need to turn in tight circles and make sure that you can shake off anyone that's around you. Use cover. If you see buildings or mountains, be sure to go very low to the ground and use them around you. You want to break the line of sight of anyone that's around you. Hopefully you'll be able to shake them off. As for attacking, the machine gun is your main weapon of choice. Heat-seeking rockets are very good, but more than likely the enemy will have flares which they'll just deploy when you get lock-on. If you're following someone quite closely, you can hold the lock-on for a little bit longer and try and psych them out. See if they'll deploy their flares before you launch a rocket. That way you might get a cheeky kill like that. But don't rely on this method. The best course of action is to stick with the minigun. It is hard to use, and remember to lead your shots, making sure that you fire ahead of them because the bullets will take some time to get there. But once you get this method down, it is tried and tested to be the most effective means to taking down the enemies. Make sure you maneuver behind the enemy jet and try and follow his pattern as closely as you can. Switch between third person and first person view so you can get a good gauge on where the enemy is by pressing in the R3 button. Use the left thumbstick left and right to make subtle changes when you're using your minigun, which will improve your accuracy and help you be able to shoot down helicopters. You can also engage in bombing runs on the floor. But for you guys starting out early, this is more a case of luck. Just try and slow your jet down as much as possible by holding in L2 and perform a bombing run on what you think to be a high traffic area. If you're playing Conquest, aim for the sites or places where you can see vehicles moving around. Also, to make your life a lot more easier, remember to spot your enemies pressing select. Don't rely on your teammates to do it. If you see someone, press select immediately, even if it does mean losing that first little gunfight. Hopefully you'll be able to spot them a lot easier from the third person's perspective when you come back round for your second try. This applies for both ground and air units. Finally, we just got some common sense issues that we need to determine. Firstly, take down the air units first. Focus on the planes because they're going to be giving you the most bother, then focus on the helicopters. Once you've got all them out the way, feel free just to spam the enemy floor around the enemy concentrated area until you get something. It's going to be a lot of luck and you might not hit them for something, but at least you'll be supporting your team that way, and you might just freak out a few enemies in the process. Now if you are getting spawn trapped by the enemy and they are frustrating you, there's not a lot you can do about this, but one of the best methods I find is just sacrificing one and ploughing your jet straight into them. It will cause them to die as well, and it will take them more time to get their jet from their spawn back over to there. Hopefully you'll have enough time by that time to get into the air and you'll get a well balanced fight out of it. And my last point will be for you guys who haven't unlocked flares yet and are still trying to get those first kills. All I can say is persevere. Jets have the highest learning curve of anything I have ever personally tried, and it takes a long time to get it down. Use these techniques and stay very wide from the battlefield and come in very slowly to do long runs along the floor. Hopefully with any luck you'll be able to take them out. If you see some helicopters hovering in the space, focus on them. And if you are able to get behind a jet, use the minigun and just go for it. Eventually you will be able to get this down. And finally, mistakes happen. Sometimes you're going to crash your jet, it's just going to happen. Happens to the best of us. So you might not see a pole to the last minute. There are lots of structures with small pokey out bits on top which will ruin your day when you're trying to fly around them. All I can say really is this is just down to map knowledge. The more you're flying around and the more experience you get, the less likely this is to happen. All I can say is what I've been saying all along. Experience and perseverance will get you through and you'll be taken to the skies like a true champion very soon.